Okay, in this video I'm just having a look at using remote shutters on Panasonic Lumix cameras, and I've kind of covered this before in another video where I was sort of in the search of finding a remote shutter that does work on these cameras, and I finally found something that kind of does work. And these aren't really for everyone, you know, not everybody wants to use remote shutters, and there are other ways to do this. Like you've got the self timer feature, which I'll link a video about up in the corner. You know, that is a way to kind of get around this and, you know, avoiding any shaking pictures and things like that. And you've also got things like you can use Lumix Sync, and that's also got a remote shutter feature in that. So you can do it a couple of different ways, but I kind of do actually like sometimes just having like a physical remote shutter that I can use on the camera. So if that's something you're sort of interested in using, then this hopefully will be quite helpful to you. So this remote shutter here is it's a bit more than that. It's like an intervalometer, this one, but I sort of don't need the time-lapse features on this specifically anymore. I just want it for a remote shutter, but this was just an older one that I had, and on trying it, it's what you'll find is you kind of plug it into the remote shutter on the side, so you've got that port there, and on plugging it in, I kind of try to show what's going on with it. If I put it into AF mode as well, you should be able to see, actually if I tilt the screen up, then I'll be able to focus as well with it. If I press the button and we're in tell you what, actually I'll put it into shutter priority mode, and then if I press the button, it just records video in the photo modes. If I put it into manual movie mode on the top, does the same, just records video. So yeah, that's not particularly useful, and I also, when I'm holding the button down, it doesn't actually perform any kind of focus there either, so it will just start recording without looking on any kind of focus. So, you know, the continuous focus would take over from video, but it's not ideal not to have like that initial focus point, because then your video starts off by kind of focusing in on what's actually in the frame. So yeah, it just kind of doesn't really work at all. You know, you can go into the C modes and it's still just doing video, so and quite sort of sporadically, it's quite hard to control it. So yeah, this is kind of so the thing I realized between the two that I was looking at is essentially, that's not going to focus on that, is it? Is it going to happen? No, I don't think so. Basically this piece here, you can see there's two bands on the remote for this one, so that two band remote basically just didn't work. So I looked around to try and find another one, and I managed to find this. Again, it's just kind of like it's an off-brand trigger, but you'll notice the difference on this trigger is that it has a 3-band pin, and what it kind of allows is for it to work a little bit better. And I'll kind of leave a link to this trigger so you can kind of check it out. But like I said, it's just an off-brand cheap one. I just wanted something where I could kind of control the camera from just kind of remotely without needing to set up the app or set things in the camera. And you can see for a start, we're just back into shutter priority. And for a start, it actually focuses, so that's a good start. So for actual photos, you know, you're able to focus and then hold it down and take a shot. So focus is half press, take a shot, second press. The buttons just do the same thing on there. There's no actual difference between them. It just seems to be two buttons that does the same thing, but that's fine. It's, you know, that's exactly what I wanted, something that I can just take shots remotely with. And again, you know, you do that to not introduce shake into the camera whilst you're doing this kind of stuff, or to be able to stand in front of it and take a picture without having to set the timer, that kind of thing. I really use it for, you know, just shots where I can stand away and I can do like a long exposure shot without having to interrupt the camera, and I can stand away so I'm not having to have anything illuminated while I'm stood next to it, kind of ruining the image. And then if we come into, so basically manual photo mode just does the same for all of those, like P mode. And then when we come into the manual movie mode on the top, it basically just focuses, and I can't get it to do anything else. So I kind of thought, oh, so there's another. I really just wanted it for photo, but I thought, it'd be nice if it worked for both. And then it just kind of does that. But then actually, when you come into the custom modes on the top, and if you're not sure about these, I've done a video kind of about them, so you can take a look at that. But all of my first 1 through 4, they're all video profiles based on the manual movie mode. So when I switch into C1 to 4, basically it will record video, but for whatever reason that doesn't work on the so I'll just put this into auto ISO so you can kind of see that it's there, and it will focus as well and then record video, but for whatever reason that doesn't work in the creative movie mode. But you can kind of see if I go to 2, so again it's like this is my 4K 50 option, 4K 120, and they all just seem to work. And then when I switch obviously back into the photo mode, it's just taking pictures again. So this remote, although not perfect because I can't use the manual movie mode the way I'd maybe like to, it is much better than the other one because it actually will shoot images, which is like the primary of why I want it. It's not really to record video from a distance. So yeah, this is actually quite a usable little shutter release, and it was kind of under, I think it was under £10 when I got it. So I was fairly happy with that, just as a kind of cheap remote camera accessory. And it's quite nice as well. It's got a decent cable length, and it's a really good small little shutter, because sometimes these are quite big and cumbersome. Like this intervalometer one is pretty large. It's got more features in it, but they're features that can be found in pretty much all the Lumix cameras, so it's not really so needed. It's just more the actual remote shutter that I want. So yeah, hopefully you found that helpful. If you have, give the video a like. If you've got any questions about it, feel free to drop them in the comments. If you want to see more kind of Lumix content, check out the playlist on this channel, and please subscribe.